Are we all set to go?
I'm quickly checking right now, actually. But in all likelihood, it should be. Yep, there you go. It's in the videos. Okay, we're fine.
Yeah, I see it. Cool. All right. Awesome. Who wants to kick it off? Let's see. We've got. All right. I can do the intros. Thanks everybody for joining our May virtual feedback forum. We are doing this once a month, kind of in place of the IGDA kind of open house. There, you would kind of like talk to the IGDA folks, ask some questions, get some news, kind of network with other game devs and stuff like that. So we kind of want the Discord to be a way for you to kind of continue that, but virtually. So super excited to have you guys here. So I'm just gonna randomly pick somebody to go first. So let's go. Oh, did someone leave? They're like, oh no, I'm not gonna show. Let's go with, actually, you know what? Let's go with Mark. How about you tell us about your business and what you're doing, and feel free to also share your screen so we can see what you're talking about.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Can everyone hear me? Or everyone that has the mic? How's it going? How's it going, Olga? How's it going, Howard? How is everyone doing today? How's everyone feeling?
Hanging in there. Doing.
That's cool. That's cool. Well, first and foremost, thank you for hosting this. I've been looking forward to the BC era, before COVID. We were looking forward to being a part of the IGDA networking forum and heading over. A little bit about me. Have about, I want to say, 15 plus years of game dev, marketing, and just overall game industry experience. Myself and my CEO partner, Charles Yu, just recently started our endeavor of trying to launch our very first gaming independent platform for indie devs and content and streamers called Vox Pop Games. I posted a huge, off-topic rundown of everything Vox Pop Games under my handle before we got amended to these new tags under Salami Attack. So if you go to the off-topic sub server channel here in the IGDA NYC, you'll see everything from my greetings, and we just had our very first AMA yesterday. It went extremely well, so you can see the recap and look up everything about the client and what we're trying to accomplish. So with that said, I'll just go right into just showing a couple of screenshots, and I'll show you guys a live sort of viewing of our latest client that is going to go live in about 6 days' time. We're hosting a bunch of amazing independent developers, as well as content streamers and content creators on our platform. So it's sort of like a hybrid. Let me give you guys a little bit of insight into it while I share my screen right now. So open system tray, event, Discord, application streams, and go live. So can everyone see me yet or not yet? Currently has reduced video audio.
Yeah,
I'm just seeing a black screen.
Okay. I don't know what's going on.
Is there like a particular, do you need to specifically share audio as well as the video itself?
No, just video. Well, if my audio cuts out, that means if I submit it at let's see. I lowered the bandwidth, so I don't need to share audio for the Yeah, if I cut the audio, it's gonna cut my audio. So I'm trying to share what I have. Maybe I'm having some technical difficulties, but let me stop streaming right now.
Because what I was thinking was, if you don't need to share the audio, you could just share your screen itself, and it will show everything.
I'm gonna stop. Hold on. Sorry about that. I think. Let me try and work out because I'm going off my MacBook, and I have a very, very old MacBook, but maybe it's not allowing. Oh, I got it. Discord will not be able to record the contents of your screen until it is.
Is it just me, or has his audio cut
Yeah.
off
Mark,
too?
I think
Yeah,
his audio
I
cut
think
out.
your audio's cut out, Mark, if you're still talking.
I am here. Can you
Okay,
hear me?
now we can, yeah.
Yeah,
You
okay,
can see
it's there.
Okay, I can see the screen. Yeah.
Right, all right. So here's the Vox Pop Games platform. Here's a little bit of an overview. You guys can hear me, still see things?
I'm
I
only
only see
seeing the
Discord.
Discord channel.
Discord, yeah.
Ooh, okay, let's see. Why is this happening? Inception.
Could just be you're streaming the.
Here it is,
Discord
here it
thing.
is.
Ah, there you
Yeah,
go.
there you go.
You see it?
Ah,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah, now we can, yeah.
All right, sorry about that. So, yeah, we have a whole bunch of cool games being featured. This is not all the games, so mind you, this is still, we're going beta in 6 days, so we have a really clave. I don't know if that's a real word, but we have a smorgasbord of cool independent games. So everyone should be familiar with gaming clients. This is sort of like I don't want to say it's a boutique Steam. I want to call it a independent gaming distribution and development platform that is wholly indie centric. The main crux of it is we have our independent developers doing profit sharing of their content. So whenever a sale is enacted, the developer puts an output of their actual so their analytics. So we have a whole bunch of analytics that we're going to feature, and we have a developer user directory and depository. We have news portal, developer portal for people who want to just submit their games. We have a bug portal for all of this stuff, and of course we have our purchasable games. We're running a promotion for anyone that wants to purchase. So anyone that signs up to the beta, you have the chance of winning one of 3 awesome, amazing games. So like I said, right now, when you're seeding files or when you're going to our platform and you're using our sort of overview and you're selling on our distributing on our platform, you have a bunch of metrics that we are enabling during our beta. You're basically seeding the file. So since we're a peer-to-peer network, the files that you recommend, so if you're recommending a game, let's say for instance you want to recommend one of these really cool amazing games, you put it on your recommendations page on your profile, and you share this on your social media profile. So pretty much your VoxPop profile is akin to a Patreon or a Coffee, but supporting the developers. A lot of times when people actually go on Steam, they just throw their game up onto the largest, I guess, storefront. So let's consider Steam, Walmart, or McDonald's of video game distribution. They're not really supporting the mom and pop shops, small development teams. That's where VoxPop comes in. We have a bunch of different profiles. So for our gamer profiles, if you just want to be just a user and check out the games, you'll get your gamer tag. This is our platform engineer. We have a whole bunch of different things that we're pretty much featuring, and we want everyone to sort of have a look on the 20th. So that's pretty much my sort of elevator pitch. I wanted to sort of stop streaming and sort of formalize any questions if anyone had any. And like I said, if anyone wanted to discuss things or find out more, all you would have to do is go to the off-topic text channel in this thread, and just go to my post above, and you'll see all of our links and check out our AMA. And that's pretty much it. Any questions, concerns, comments, or anything?
Quick question.
Did my mic? Hello?
Yep. This is Georgia here.
Oh, hi.
I have a question. Well, how would you compare your platform to Itch by chance? Just out of curiosity.
So we're not formally supporting the pay what you want structure, since we want every developer to get a piece of revenue for their hard-earned work. We're not just allowing. A lot of the times, industry folks consider Itch like a demo reel for indie developers. We don't want that. We want fully fleshed out ideas that our minimum spend would be $1, so that at least you're coming home with some percentage, a larger percentage of revenue than you're going to get on Itch and then you're going to get on Steam. So hosting on our site allows developers to at least have a fully fleshed out versioning of their idea, and if they want to come out with other iterations or other variants of that content, or like a plus version of their game, they could, to increase the revenue price or increase the revenue share, they'll swap out what they want to do with our platform, and then they'll go ahead and put a new price point, whether it's $1, $2. We're starting with $1 game, and we're going all the way up to $40 games. Those are our, like, I guess, triple I caliber style pricing games that are being built on Unreal 4, and they have to deal with royalty shares or rev shares with the actual game engines that they're working with. So we're giving developers a chance to market their games organically with our streamer base and our content creator base. I like to describe it as a sort of Venn diagram where content creators and streamers overlap with game developers by partnering, and then the platform is in the center. Anybody else? Nothing?
Actually, so you're talking about that this is kind of a rev share, profit sharing model. So what exactly is a percentage?
So
for developers and I'm assuming to Voxel Pop.
So for Vox Pop, we're taking we're requesting that all of the revenue share goes to the developer at an 85% cut. So for every dollar sold, you're coming home with 85 cents. That's more than any other revenue share split, because of the simple fact that we're a peer-to-peer network. So we don't have to rely on one static server. Steam relies on a huge mega server across the globe. They have multiple sites that they have their, I guess, client hosted on. We're hosted with a back end of AWS, so we're pretty much relying on the community to pretty much serve as a seeding engine. So if you're sharing your game or you're seeding your game, you're pretty much a client that some other purchaser or user can download from. And from that, you end up getting a seed percentage that goes into a bank. I'm pretty sure you guys saw that sort of like coin percentage area, and that fills up your Vox Pop, I guess, wallet. And then you can buy more stuff on the platform or take from the platform. We're requesting that 85% goes directly to our partnered developers that sign with us into agreement. And we suggest to our developers that they rev share 3% of that 85%. So they're still coming home with 82%, but for that 3%, that divvies off to all of their organic streamers. So another key thing is our streamer base. So we have over 40 Twitch streamers, YouTube creators that are pretty much partnered with us and working to brand the games that are being hosted on our client, so that the developers get that promotional backend organically. It's not seen as some sort of salesman-y pitch, because someone is let's playing their game, and rather than doing it for free or just let's playing Fortnite for the 4 millionth time, they're giving eyes and ears to a newer independent game that they might never have ever, seen on any other marketplace, but they are seeing it for the first time on ours.
Cool. And speaking of streamers, I guess the other question, so is it kind of like the other streaming platforms? So, I'm trying to think of the names here off the top of my head, but I can't remember them. But essentially,
You mean like Twitch or YouTube gaming?
No. I mean, so there's platforms where game developers can provide keys to streamers, and then you can kind of drill down in terms of, I want someone who has this many subs and this many concurrent viewers and this and that.
No. So we're we're a little bit more open to that. So the key mailer, we're not. So the purpose of the client is to get as much revenue for the actual developers as possible. Key mailers are just giving people keys so that they unlock the game on Steam, and they're pretty much paying for publicity. The way that we're circumventing that sort of procedure is that we're hosting their games on our partner streamers' sites. So the partnership is part of the profit sharing margin. If you are expected, rather than just getting a key and throwing the key away or using the key whenever or using it for like a one-time marketing spend, we don't want that. We want a little bit more longevity for our platform partner, our dev partners. So we want to have people go back to the independent games that we're doing. Most of the time when you have, like I said, I've worked for, every single big name company. I started my career at Rockstar Games. I worked with Capcom, USA and Japan and Vancouver. I worked with Perfect World to launch their ARC platform. So I've seen all the sort of tricks of the trade when it comes to marketing. And I feel as though those one-time sort of key mailer procedures don't really give longevity or doesn't really extend the legs of the game that someone might have worked 7 years on, that might only be like maybe 10 to 15 hours, but sort of get lost in the shuffle, like I said, with just being up. There's like 21 games, I guess, every single day that get uploaded to Steam, and most of them get buried for like the top tier AAA games from the huge studios. We're trying to serve that underserved market by giving the attention to the streamers that are streaming these guys' games. So it's like a hand-in-hand democratization of independent content creation. The developers, are rev sharing their profits for organic publicity that is longer than just a one and done. We want to get more streamers involved as much as possible. Actually, we have, I guess, a 3-to-1 count for streamers to developers at this point. That's a great thing, I feel. I think developers are going to just see the client for what it is and then onboard their game for whatever reason they choose. Hopefully it's to get more eyes and ears and, gamers playing their products, but it's also to get these streamers involved. It's also to get these content creators that are really investing their time and just, going to Patreon or going to coffee to get a couple of dollars here and there, when they could actively involve themselves in the community that we're trying to build.
Okay, cool. And how, you're uploading, you're saying game developers are like bringing in their games there. So are they just uploading like the EXE files? Like how exactly are they getting the game onto your platform?
Yeah, so we're supporting at beta. So in 6 days' time, we're supporting the PC SKU of the client. We already have Linux and Mac supported builds from all of our game developers. So we're supporting all of pretty much every type of downloadable, executable DMG file, Linux file. But for right now, for our closed beta, we're supporting just primarily the PC spec, because once we get the kinks out for the largest user base, then everything else will fall into place, because we're doing concurrent development with a very, very lean team with our Vox Pop Games development, platform development, engineering team. So people are able to contact myself or contact our social media manager, Vox Pop Holly Welch. they'll be able to email me at my email. It's just mark, M-A-R-C, at voxpopgames.com. And if they want to be a developer partner, they could join our Discord and they could talk to me on DM. There's a whole bunch of different ways. We have every single channel of social media and communication available. So yeah, short answer. For beta, we're supporting the PC spec, so executable files, but past closed beta into open and final clients, we're supporting the whole thing, the whole shebang.
Awesome. And I think Howard has the screen on your social media, but if you don't mind also telling us where we can find you on social media, your website, stuff like that.
Sure. So once again, at the off-topic server channel, you'll see a link tree that has links to all of our social media and the actual AMA from yesterday. The closest thing I could say is for everything, including the client download in 6 days, it is www.voxpopgames.net, VOXPOPGAMES.net. And then everything else, like I said, in the off-topic section, you could see the link tree, and it has links to all of our social media. Please follow, subscribe, and join our Discord channel. I'll add it to the off-topic channel, server channel right now when I get off. Any
Awesome.
other questions, concerns, comments?
Oh, it's great. Sounds awesome.
Thank you, Olga. So we were actually partnered. We sponsored the IGDA newsletter in March during our PAX run. So we went to the PAX East conference before the whole pandemic sort of exploded. It was sort of early stages epidemic, and then as soon as we got back, Charles and I, we had exhibitors on the show floor. We had people that we are featuring on the client. Exhibiting on the show floor at PAX, so that was an amazing thing. And when we got back, this whole thing sort of turned into our new realities. So all the sort of good publicity we got sort of got swept under the rug with everything that's happening. So we want to do more partnerships with the IGDA NYC chapter. I wanted to talk offline if there's any additional, sponsorships that we could do.
Well, Kevin is really the guy in charge of that.
Okay. No, I spoke with Kevin. He said it's open. It's open to whatever we need.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, we're flexible.
Okay, awesome, cool.
But I'm not the money person.
Neither am I.
So I try to stay out of that because I just get myself into trouble if I talk too much. But yeah, no, absolutely. It's a really nice synergy, if you will. I hate that word, but yeah.
No, yeah, so just everyone, my spiel is over. If please, I'm going to be friending up everyone that was here in the chat. Don't think it's weird of me. I just want to friend up. And like I said, if you want to join the Discord, I'm going to drop it in the off-topic channel right now. Okay?
Great. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you,
Mark.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
All right, let's go to Nikki.
I don't know if I was misunderstood, but I don't really have something to show right now.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, no problem. Who do we have then? Judge?
Hi. Yeah. I pretty much have some kind of revised version of Farm Pharaoh that I made some improvements on. That's all. Yeah.
Can we take a look at that?
Yeah, can we see it?
Cool. Yeah, can we see it?
Let's see. Screen. Let's see. Let me double check this here. So, let's see. Microsoft Edge. There's that. Give me a sec. This right here. So, anyways, here's the version that I have.
You're breaking up a bit there. You were breaking up a little bit there.
Here I see a screen that I have loaded up on the stream here.
Yeah, I see it.
So this is the game Farmfare that I just like kind of revamped a bit here. So I changed the tutorial a bit so it's a little bit more visually enticing here. So welcome to the tutorial for Farm Pharaoh. I tend to know how to navigate your pharmaceutical molecules. So here we have a level here, and then it's basically a molecule, and then we got to start from one point here, and we got to end at the other point. Now move the red staff from one red target to the other by clicking on unvisited neighboring atoms. And then as randomly we generated a couple here, so link gateway pairs, and we use to jump around the molecule. So here, for instance. Oh, we have red X's that barricade the path to pharmaceutical victory. And then reverse the lockdown, so you need to pass must keep for a turn being passed through. In addition, you have to collect all these beakers here. And then you're going to reveal and activate any gateway pairs during the simply a visit to the all-seeing eye. This triangle over here. File to satisfy all the additional requirements. And if you enable atomic hints, the game will home to land on atom that is not part of a valid path. When you reach the other red target and none of the aforementioned criteria met, you will have to start again. If you ever get stuck or want to reconsider your path, you may backtrack by clicking on previously visited atoms. To restart your path, you may also click on the red target you initially started on. To report about each molecule, you may click on the question icon here. And to look into previously used paths, you may also click on the molecule icon in the lower right-hand corner. How unique paths possible in the current molecule, you'll be brought into another map, and it'll go on like that recursively. You know, if you pause the game at any time, just move the cursor elsewhere and turn the cursor to unpause. And then after this, finder screen here, we'll be back to the menu and we'll begin. So, which difficulty would you guys see here?
We gotta start out with the easiest. Unless someone else has an idea.
And then we'll just let's see. Let's just start. Let's go testing what API calls and then let's see what happens. I'll have to like load the volume a bit. Sound clock. In case you're hearing the cowbell sound, it's basically everyone cheering for the healthcare workers out there.
Me too. We're very loud in my neighborhood.
Here we have this, and then we go here, here, here. Paths. Let's see. There's a big change. I decided to make the icon a bit more like usually like
You're breaking up a lot.
You're breaking up, JG. You're breaking up. We couldn't really hear what you just said.
Sorry,
You're really breaking up there. I can barely like understand you.
It's sounding warped. I think you need to close out any other tab.
Yeah. Either that, or maybe you can, if you stop sharing the screen, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, it could be some internet problems, but I think stopping the stream might actually be better.
Yeah, it was similar to what I had earlier before.
Stop the stream. Let's see.
Yeah, I think we got a good chunk of how the gameplay worked, so there isn't too much need to continue sharing the stream.
Okay, so I got shut the stream a bit. So is it better now, or?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, it's much better.
Okay, so basically, so any questions regarding the stream, or because the connection wasn't clear at that point?
Did you get a chance? The one thing that I noticed that you didn't seem to change. I mean, I love what you've done, but like those icons are still a little bit hard to read.
The icons, as far as I know, I'm not sure what to do about them because, like, on one hand, I'm trying to like figure out what to do, like it's already like somewhat cluttered already, and, like.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe
Yeah.
like varying the sizes of them, so like it's like maybe make the triangles bigger so that they're easier to read, so like the stuff inside them it's not all piled up on top of each other. That might be a way of doing it quickly without actually expending too much energy on it. You know, like the eye ones, like the eye triangles. I think they're the gateways.
Oh, I actually thought that those icons were pretty
They were geo-hidden
distinguishable.
gateways.
I'm sorry.
I think Olga's side is also cutting out a little bit.
Oh yeah, we're loud here. I'll mute because we're probably interfering with the sound.
I mean, if I could, you know, state my 2 cents, I actually really liked the fact that you added the how to play portion. Like the first time, about a month ago, it was actually pretty difficult to understand how the game worked because of all the text, and I feel like the how to play portion actually explained it much clearer. So I think that's like a very good thing.
Well,
I agree. It makes it much clearer.
Yeah, I realized that I need to add visuals and make a tutorial like a bit more visually enticing in order to be able to like, get my point across. So that's why I added the images in there instead of just using like a wall text.
Are you thinking about adding like a progression in? Well, there's like a progression from like, I'm assuming medium to hard, but what I was thinking was like starting off the game with like a small graph or a section, just to ease people into how the game works, because
Like H2O or something.
Yeah, you absolutely
Something.
You need if you want to take the same page off of like a lot of the what you call it, us Supercell, they'll always do something where you start out just your first couple levels are super easy, just so like people just breeze right through it. You want to breeze right through so it develops a habit, and then you start ratcheting up very slowly. Sorry, I probably should. I wasn't even thinking about this until you just mentioned the starting out simple. But yeah, should always have what you're doing is you want to each level should teach a specific task, and then your next level should probably have them reinforce that learning, and then the third level a new lesson, a new skill, as it were, and that's always people usually appreciate that. And then of course there's a way of progressing it. So like the first one's the first skill. The second one is you're reinforcing that skill. The third one is a second skill. The fourth one is reinforcing it, and then the fifth one might be combination of the two skills. See how it's going. So that way they're constantly learning something new and being challenged, but very easy.
I think just to exemplify what Dragon Hill was saying was like let's say the first level is just a straight path from, the start to the end. And then once we get into the second one, we can implement, let's say, the lock or something. And so people won't be able to go straight past the lock into the ending. You'll have to go probably around. And then maybe even the third one, you can implement like I don't remember what it's called, but like the jumping, the gates, the H's. So you could have like one straight path towards the end, but it's blocked by a lock, and then there's an H that like enforces the fact that you have to jump to the next, H to get to the end.
I'll try and figure out how to like make interactive tutorial then.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Actually, you just said interactive tutorial because I think a lot of it, like the tutorial, I know for myself, I don't technically like reading a lot for a tutorial. Not to say that like you can't have text or something, but I think having, as Dragon Hill and Howard was saying, things that kind of reinforce like, okay, click from here to here, and that's a tutorial, and you learn something, and then the next level, oh, well, you have it. So it kind of you have the tutorial through in-game clicking, and you're actually learning learning the game through the tutorial by actually doing it instead of reading about it.
Mm-hmm. And also, should I do more about the artwork and like the filtering and so on and so forth? Just out of curiosity.
I mean, the thing is with the artwork, I don't think you have to stress so much about it being. I think what we were talking about the last time was it's more about, again, it goes to making the gameplay clearer, and because that to have certain symbols punched up and to make them easier to read, not. I mean, art is always great, but more from an ease of use and more from a UI perspective to make it easier for people to understand how the game is played. So, the graphics don't have to be fancy. I think they just have to be more utile towards gameplay. That sizes and relationships should, again, help the gameplay along, should help people learn how to do things. So, I mean, you don't have to get fancy with the art. Just like, think about how the relationships more than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Believe me, I get caught up myself a lot of times in the art before the gameplay, and you can get mired down. So, it happens to us all. Just, and ultimately, if you do it modular enough, the art can be replaced. If you find something better or somebody else can do it better, et cetera, et cetera. But a solid gameplay sells itself. I mean, if you hand it to somebody and they don't want to stop playing, and after 5-10 minutes later you come back and you're done, and you're like, no, I want to keep playing. Then you got a winner.
Okay.
And by the way, question: How many times have you put this in people's hands? Like how many?
I was just about to ask that.
Just like, well, I've been going to IGDA meetings like before the pandemic. And I've been trying to get some like feedback on that, but like otherwise, it's been like multiple times.
Yeah, I've played it at the Winter Play Expo and the October Expo in the Microsoft Studio. So I've had hands on quite a bit. It's come a long way. So I'm really looking toward more progress and more feedback, and just reach out to the community, man. It's come a long way.
Thank you, Mark.
I was going to just to let you know, I used to work at Vicarious Visions for like 10 years, so I was involved a lot with focus testing. And one of the things, from my perspective, was that once you had someone try out your game, you could never have them try it out again for that purpose of how they first see it. You never get a second first impression, is what I'm getting at. So people are viable to come back for further testing, but if that first initial exposure and see how people react, you literally have to get new, fresh people all the time. So every time you make a change to the game, you bring it to a new person. So like having someone who's played it over and over, they're going to become biased and or start getting used to the game and may not be as critical to the beginning gameplay. That's all. Just an observation of mine.
Hmm.
And for those that you wondered, we did have like a battery of 200 kids that we would parade in for focus testing, and we would rotate them. So if a child had play tested Tony Hawk Pro Skater or whatever, we wouldn't ask them to come back in for another initial play test. We would bring them in for a different game.
Well, the approach that I've been taking lately is that like if multiple people were saying the same thing, like they want a tutorial, like that was a sign that I needed to create a tutorial, and that was the way that I was approaching this issue for a while.
Right, and also this is another thing. What people ask for is not necessarily what they want, and I realize that sounds a little condescending, but what I'm getting is that they said they want a tutorial, but if the game taught them through gameplay, spoon feed, they're getting the same result, but in a different way.
I agree. I think you hit the nail on the head. I think if you make those I think the tutorials you've done are great. Don't get rid of them, but I think if you make it smaller and just do like one chunk at a time and let it sink in, I think it'll be a lot easier for people. And the other stuff might not, you might not need more clear symbols because, you're getting, there's so much going on so quickly that I think if you just make the molecule smaller to begin with and only do one or two things in the first one and then build up on it, I think it will have a much better flow.
It also extends gameplay. So if you want to focus on like one specific element of gameplay, like Dragon Hill was saying, you could sort of formalize that as a standalone tutorial via gameplay. So you're pretty much building to the next section, but you sort of hammer on that one mechanic in a variant of ways, and that'll give you more shelf life and more in-game time, where people could get used to the mechanic, perfect the mechanic, and then you grow from there.
Okay.
Does anybody else have any comments or questions for Jaji? If not, does anyone else want to show off something that they've been working on?
Do you want to see something really crude and unreal? I'll show you.
That sounds interesting.
Always.
Heck yeah.
Okay, just for those that wonder, this is what basically a sandbox looks like when you're working on something. But let's see. Well, first of all, this is more of an experiment. I've never shared anything on Discord, so this will be fun. Let's see if I share a screen. What screen? Select something in your. Okay, so output primary. No event. Oh, let me see. Is that it? Go live. And what are you looking at?
We see a folder with
bingo.
Prime 3.
Okay, bingo. This is it.
I think the application needs to be open before you can actually share it, though, because I think you're only sharing the folder right now.
Yeah, you're sharing
okay.
your overview. You gotta now select the screen, the exe screen that opened up.
Okay, hold on. Fire it up again. Okay, sure. Oh, sure. And I have to Alt Tab to get to the screen share. Change windows. Yeah, like I said, this is more of an experiment for me. Go live.
Ooh.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay, we'll get rid of that. Okay, so just to let you know, this is a lot of stuff off from the marketplace on the Unreal store. So this is a first-person shooter template that I am mixing and matching different assets. So we turn around and all this is going to be changed soon. Oh no, sorry about that. Create game, and then start game. And this is my. I wanted to see if I could change the loading screen, and that's my custom. Okay. Does anyone see a little squiddy in the?
Yeah.
You see the squid.
Excellent. So this is basically like Tribes. So it's first-person shooter, blah 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 blah, with jetpacks. So you get to fly around, and ultimately you'll have vehicles that you can jump in. And these vehicles are sort of the art style that I'm looking for. So I was grabbing stuff off the asset store that I wanted close to the look of the game. That is water and it's green, and that's a mistake. During the cooking process, something went wrong. It's supposed to be blue, but when you go into, and that's a flying squiddy that's supposed to move around, dropping bad guys. And here we are on the water. So I got the water working. So what is this game supposed to be? It's your typical, first-person shooter with bases, and your job is to collect tritium and put it in your reactor. And when you get enough tritium, you win. And if your tritium drops below 0, you lose. And that's where the monsters come in. The monsters will help your team or the other team suck tritium from your reactor. So as the game's being played, the monsters will be coming out of the water, slowly coming at your reactor. You've got to shoot them away, use weapons, or go to the other side and help the monsters attack the enemy base. So, and that's really it. Not much more visually. This is just a placeholder art. I haven't finished out the base or anything. But that gives you an idea of the size of the world. It's really big. And I am going to stop streaming now. So again, that was just a quick give you an idea of like a sandboxing right now. The game is not complete in any sense. None of the HUD is completely finished. There was no jetpack fuel, letting you know how much fuel you had in your jetpack.
Why? It's still a game. You still controlled it. You still played it.
Yeah,
don't be so down on yourself.
Well, so
I was hyped. I was very hyped.
Yeah,
I love the concept. I love the concept, though.
Oh yeah, base
wars. But it's got this added element to it with this quote. It's almost like a neutral element that you can.
Well, okay, so
pull in one direction or another.
Right, a couple things. Did you hear music at all, or not? Or was it just mine?
Yes.
So that was from Tribes 2, by the way. I threw that in as that was the actual music from Tribes 2 that got things pumping and moving. The second thing is that the environment, what it's supposed to be is you're going to be more of a modern day soldier. So maybe just a couple of years in the future, not super sci-fi. But the world is supposed to be more of like interdimensional. So the plants are going to be stranger looking. The environment's going to look slightly stranger is the idea. So I'm glad people like the look. But just to let you know, in Unreal, it isn't that difficult to get that type of look if you're willing to pay for some of the assets on the marketplace. That's why I'm down on myself. A lot of that I didn't make. I'm the one who's implementing it. I'm not actually making it, so.
I mean, reskinning in Unreal is going to be. I don't know if you saw what they unveiled yesterday with the 5 upgrade and stuff, but it's going to be so much easier that all you would probably have to subcontract out is the look of it for modeling and rigging, and then everything else is. The way that I see it and the way that you described it, it's like that movie Annihilation meets Tribes, and that would be something that I would pay. Yeah. A lot, I would definitely pay for. So play it a lot.
Well,
already 5, but it's that should not be hard to fix. acid
Well,
problems.
yeah, well, the kind of stuff that I do with Unreal is the deeper stuff. So, in other words, making it. I didn't focus on making it look good because to me that's something I can do really fast. I'm more working with the subsystems that are because I bought stuff off the marketplace, but they don't necessarily play well together. And I have to make them play. I have to go into the code and make them play well together. And I'm also doing something weird with Perforce. This is all on Perforce on my own server, and I am placing a lot of the assets as I'm taking assets off the marketplace and converting them to plugins in the engine source code. I'm compiling from source code. Anyone who's familiar with Unreal, you can either install the game engine from the installer, or you can download the source code and then compile it yourself. And that's what I'm doing because I want to be able to make dedicated standalone servers. So there. I'm off my sandbox, and I'm glad no one thought it sucked really bad. But believe me, in another month or two, it's going to look a lot better.
I don't know if they said that. I stepped away for a second, but I kind of want you to keep the green water.
Ditto on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. This concept I actually made a long time ago, and I actually had it where all the water liquids were pools of liquid metal, and they had hexagonal waves.
That's cool.
So that green being an accident. I've made maps where I've had acid water that's radioactive. So when I saw it, I go, "Oh, that was funny that it happened, and I didn't do it deliberately, but that was not the intention." Ultimately, I would like to do the liquid metal, but I suppose I should do some pools off to the side and get feedback from that if people would like that or not.
Awesome. Yeah. Also, how many, again, I might have missed it, but how many maps are you planning for this game?
Generally, because it's multiplayer only, 4 or 5 at most. I'm focused, like what you saw right there is more of the base template, 2 bases with water in the middle. In standard tribes, if not, people aren't familiar, flying vehicles can go into water, but if they hit anything, they immediately blow up. So basically, you can go into water to hide, but it's a tactical mistake to do. So the water gives it first of all keeps the bases apart. I may have monsters in the water so that if you try to walk across the lake, you're going to be attacked and probably devoured. And that's another thing. I'm going to have it more instead of the we have a big ring around the whole map. And if you go outside the ring, you die. I'm just going to have it where monsters so big pop in and just kill you. So go too far away, and it's like the zombie horde. You'll get taken out. But in the water, I was thinking about having some sort of, if you dwelled in there too long, like a tentacle monster would grab you and just spat you out. That the monster up top is going to be actually cruising around, and that's what's going to be like seeding the map with monsters. It'll be dropping pods, and it'll have a day-night cycle. So daytime, the monsters basically don't spawn. Nighttime, they spawn and go after the reactors. And so there's like a day-night cycle, so you have time to prepare for the monsters.
Awesome. Are there any other questions?
Oh yeah. Is there like a specific game that like drawn you to make this one? Because I think my question revolves around that one. Like, do you have inspiration towards something?
Oh well, number one, I love playing Tribes 2. I loved I loved that they had 64 to 128 player maps. I'm a huge multiplayer map person. But my background, once you find out what I did in the past, you'll realize this is. I've made maps for TF2. I worked on Doom 3 back in the original Xbox. I've worked on Jedi Knight conversions, FPS stuff. I used to play competitively in Quake 2 CTF with grapple hooks. So I like flying, I like jetpacking, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, I was a little bit well, first I really love this game and the idea actually I totally want to play it if it's available, but I was just I guess put off from the jetpack portion itself. It felt like it was just being tacked on, so I was wondering like what you were like what kind of core gameplay you were going to implement revolving around the jetpack. Like is there going to be like one-on-one, air gunfights where people are trying to shoot each other off there, or is there going to be like, something the jetpacks are basically used for?
So you never actually played Tribes, did you?
I have not. I'm taking
Okay.
a look at it right now, but
Okay, so well, first of all, they did a thing where they had skiing, so that it was more floaty mechanics. I'm kind of stay away from that, but the way the buildings were structured, getting in and out, it was a more vertical game, and to be more vertical, you really need the jetpacks if you want to move around quickly. The other thing is that vehicles, to get in the vehicles, you would just jetpack up to the cockpit, and as soon as you fell into the cockpit, you immediately were in. So you didn't go up to a vehicle and hit the use key or whatever. You literally just dropped into a cockpit and then you were flying. So a lot of that mechanics is going to be going on. The jetpack is something to be tuned. I just threw that in. You're right. It was strapped on. There are no effects. There's no fuel consumption, so that like if you're a heavy, you can't really fly much. You really need to get a ride. If you're a scout with a sniper gun, there you go. Now you can go to that mountaintop and start sniping. So there'll be classes to be sure.
Awesome. Were there any other questions? All right.
I have a question. It's more like a thought. You know those games like in strategy games, like such as like Solaris or like Civilization, for instance, like at what point should we just let the player like not like get a tutorial and then like let them figure it out for themselves as opposed to like just handing them the tutorial?
I could quickly answer. It depends on your target audience. I know what you're saying. There are people who enjoy that. I forgot there was a teaching about game design, and there are 8 types of fun that actually, and one of them is almost like sadism, like not a masochist, but someone who actually enjoys almost being tortured, like that really super hard puzzle, and enjoys the solving it, and getting out. That's what it sounds like you're almost going towards if you have a game that requires some teaching and you're not going to give it, then that's a certain audience you're going for. Is that what you want, or do you want to be more for the masses, more I call it popcorn type fun?
That's an interesting thought, actually. Well, I was thinking more along the masses, but then there's a limit. Yeah.
Awesome. Were there any other questions or does anybody else have anything to show? Olga?
Only if you really want to see it. Michael, are you still there?
I'm here.
You got anything new to show?
Not really, just a bunch of back-end stuff.
Yeah,
we have a lot of people who weren't here last month.
Okay,
so-
I'll give. I mean, I did set it up just in case we needed to fill some time. So I guess we need to fill some time. I will hold on. Let
There
me.
is something I could talk about.
Okay, talk.
So you guys know what Blinks is?
I've never heard of that.
No. Nope.
No.
All right, so let me just get the web page up. Because it was recently posted about in the New York City IGDA chapter Facebook group. So let me share my screen.
Is that the hexagonal group with the little pogs that you could? It's like you could add the games to the little quarter-sized tokens.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I did. You should have said the thing that you were working on. Then I would be like, yeah.
Oh.
So yeah, I was one of the people who worked on a team that contributed a project to this Kickstarter. So the idea is that each one of these blinks is a tabletop mini computer that you can use to play digital games that like tabletop games. the blinks snap together, they communicate with each other, they light up, each one's a button. And you can use them to make many cool games, and many cool games have already been made for them. And I made one of the games included in the community set, Pirates and Lasers. Well, I was part of a team that made it. I didn't make it entirely by myself. So let's see if I can find.
Now's the time to take credit for the whole thing.
Yeah,
It
absolutely,
was
Michael.
all me. So this is how it happened. So during the Global Game Jam, the one right before COVID-19 hit New York City, well, possibly during it hitting New York City, but we didn't realize it yet. I helped. I decided to make a Game Jam game for Blinks as part of a team. And then afterwards, we were contacted by Move 38, the creators of Blinks, to see if our game could be included into a community pack. So it's being made by people near New York City. Move 38 is based in New York City, so it's all New York City. Right, I should probably tell you about the game I made. So Blinks. So Pirates and Lasers is this sort of dynamic puzzle game where you have 3 types of pieces: hull pieces, laser pieces, and redirector pieces. The idea is that you need to keep rearranging. Need to rearranging the board so that all the hull pieces are protected from the laser pieces. Every time you make a move, you trigger all the laser pieces, and they damage all the hull pieces within their range. So you have to keep rearranging it for as long as you can until eventually one of them gets destroyed and you lose the game. The goal is to get as far as you can.
That's very cool.
And the best part from my point of view, I don't really have any more work to do on it. It's just out. It's just there now. It's just passive income now.
No, Michael, I'm so happy for you. That's awesome.
Looks like something you'd leave at a cocktail party.
Right.
It's on the table.
Yeah, I was actually a bit concerned. I didn't know how the crisis would affect Kickstarter. Like, I knew that more people were playing games, but this is also like a tabletop game. But I wasn't sure how many people were taking a risk on Kickstarter games, but it's already past its goal. And
That's
it still
great.
has many days left.
But this is like good family fun. I mean, it's the perfect kind of game to play like with actual live people that you're hunkering down with. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Wait, question. Is it single player or multiplayer? I almost got the impression it's single, like solitaire.
There's a solitaire mode. I think there is a co-op mode. You see, it's a sort of in order to make it work, it's a combination of both digitally enforced rules and house rules that you just have to, that we just trust you're doing because it's a solitaire, because you're playing it by yourself like any other tabletop game. So, yeah, other Blinks games are multiplayer. There are also single player. Some have as many as 4 players. It really depends on what you want to make with it. And you can buy a dev kit with this, so you can program your own Blinks game.
Yeah, that's like the higher tier. What really sold me on this is the customization, because people can use it for so many different open source things. People are making, GIFs with it, and people are making a whole bunch of like mini games or like just tricking out their little sort of desktop computers with just different musical stylings of it. So it's a really cool device.
Any other questions?
No, I'm just happy you're working on my game with me.
Next time I'll have something to show for 2 of my side project games.
Yeah,
see, next time the 2 people I'm making games for will meet, and I'll have to explain to them that yes, I'm working on both simultaneously.
It's okay. You know what? I don't mind sharing.
Okay, so to show and now we could review what the work I did on the other game I'm working on. Did we ever come up with a name for it, Olga?
Well, in my head, I was calling it the Robot Maze game, but since since Kevin and some of you guys that were here last time, the decision was made to that existential question. It's a puzzle game. It's not an exploration game. It's a puzzle game. So the maze aesthetic, I think, is going to remain, but the maze becomes more of an excuse to have dead corridors where you can hide things, and but it's going to be about the puzzles, because we both kind of realized that's what we were doing and what we I think both wanted to do, right? I mean,
I felt I was heading towards that direction just in the way I was programming it.
Yeah, and Michael put it very succinctly when we were talking about it. He said, and the interrelationships between the puzzles. So I think that's kind of the direction that we're going to be going. So you go show them, Michael.
Oh, I'm showing them up.
Well, you show first, I'll show second, and then I'll show the battery. You saw the battery I uploaded, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just thought that I just need to load the game, so maybe.
Okay, well, I'll show. I've got my stuff ready. Okay, so I'll go ahead and I'll start. So I guess this one. Wait a minute. Oh, I see. Go. Okay. Can you guys see the viewer, or are you only seeing the graph? I can't see what you're seeing.
I can see the.
We can see both the view and the graph.
Models and stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so you're actually seeing the screen, right? Like I'm moving the thing around. Okay.
Yeah.
So these are actually old meshes at this point. I've kind of messed around with these materials since then. But what you guys didn't know on the night of the previous feedback forum is that in Maya, my Maya crashed and all the material zones got stripped out of everything, and I had to redo them by hand. So this is an old version because it's it wasn't in the Maya, and I just needed to throw up something quick right now. But so this is kind of the look of the game, and you've got this little robot, and he's running around, and you'll see him doing his thing. But this is going to be one of the puzzles, and basically, you've got a battery on your head, and the battery runs down over time, and there are also enemies and other traps and obstacles in your way that can reduce and or give you energy, and then there's other issues too, but that's the basic idea of it. But what I worked on since last time. Oh, am I still streaming? Yeah. Okay. What I worked on last time. Can you guys still see this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the battery. And so like that box that we had in the demo. So you run up here and it's got where are we? There is an animation that goes with it as well. So you got the battery charge level. And as so it does that. And if we do it in the player, like the last quarter, the material will flash down here, which is why it goes black right now, because you can't really see it in this player. But there's like a flashy animation in it. So that's it. That's what I've been up to. That's end of the story.
Still loading on my end. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. I'll keep them busy. Okay. Right now I'm working. Let me get something else. Well, actually, let me get it out of Maya first. But this is still a work in progress. These are the traps that Michael already built. And
could this have been frozen? I'm still on the battery portion.
Yeah, where I think you.
Okay, you know what? You know what? Let me just. It's real. It's not. You know, honestly, guys, it's not even worth it. I'm just gonna kill my stream because
You don't need to be so down on yourself.
Yeah,
I'm not being down on myself. It actually cut out. If you guys want to see it, I'll cut back in again. But it had cut out on me. That's why I asked earlier if you could still see it.
Yeah, Discord has a really hard time.
You can watch it being all messed up because I'm gonna have to redo these materials.
I think it might be better doing like screen share instead of application share. I think people.
Yeah, I got So I've been working on this thing because I don't want to have a mesh here. You know, I'm trying to keep it as lean as possible. So I want to have this. This thing is going to be popping in and out. It's a mine, so it has a somewhere in here a mine door. So I just built this animation. So it's got a slider, and imagine that thing.
Olga, are you? I think you've cut out. Might be like internet issues.
Oh no, the internet monster got her.
I think she's just gone. Period.
No, it was the same thing that happened with me. I was like, Discord has a terrible time trying to share share screens.
I never really had a problem with it. That's good information.
It also depends on what people's upload is.
Yeah, that's okay. Like our social media manager has Spectrum, and I have Verizon, and it's night and day.
Yeah.
So I do have. I couldn't get Unity to load for some reason, but I did make a backup video for last time, so I'm just going to show that. So let me just. All right, you see my video?
Yeah.
Yeah, I see it.
A little tiny guy, black and white.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So in our game, you're exploring around as this robot, trying to avoid traps and other robots, more hostile robots. I hate that I'm showing this through a YouTube stream and then streaming that, but what are you gonna do? So there's things in the world that can help you turn on and off traps, and your goal is to locate the key card that will allow you to exit, and then locate the exits. Meanwhile, as this is happening, as you run out of power, the light around you dims. So it's all based on trying to keep your power as high as possible. That's the main form of damage in this game. So that's one of the batteries, so we're going to replace it with a non-placeholder soon enough. So yeah, we are moving in a direction where we're focusing more on how things in the world interact with each other than just exploring the world, period. We want to sort of explore interactions and relationships more now. So like the button here will turn off the mines. Different traps will lower your power, but some things in the world will actually raise your power. So yeah, it's hard to tell here when everything's untextured, but we're going for this old-fashioned for this old 70s look for our science, for our architecture. So yeah.
It's a junkyard. Well, it's a junkyard, okay? And it's like archaeological layers. So you start in the steampunk era, you work your way up, and you're trying to climb out, right? So you're going up the layers. And the next one is like the 50s, and then I think we're gonna have like an 80s 8-bit. Oh no, 60s, like 60s flower power, then like Pac-Man 8-bit, and sort of future thing at the end. But it's all a junkyard. So I think Michael called it junkyard in the GitHub. So I think it's going to be something more like junkyard rather than maze will be the working title.
Does anyone have any questions?
I could.
What is the working build? But I have a question. Well, in order to make it look a little more like a junkyard, would it be junk like near the sides and the walls, like piled up like in the corners and the edges?
It's going to
there
be
could be details like that.
Yeah. There. I'm planning on having that kind of stuff will serve mostly barriers for hiding behind when it comes to shoot 'em ups with enemies. So I'm thinking like pieces of car and but I going for kind of this funky look. So junk is a loose. It's pretty junk. But it's kind of got a cartoony look to it. So and then the other thing, as far as the things in the environment, the ethos is that the environment is dark except for where you've got this light bulb on your head and you're lighting the environment around you, and I'm using it in the environment a lot just to create breadcrumbs. So like any place that you've been to on the map, the emissives in that room will stay lit even once you've left. So it's a top-down game, and you can kind of it'll help you navigate your way around once you've been around the map a little bit. So all the junk will have an emissive component to it. So it'll be bits of old car with the tail lights still working, the signs that you saw, like last time, the signs up on the walls, they've all got neon. So that is going to. So any junk that's lying around, like I said, it's pretty junk. It's junk that serves a purpose. It's because it's kind of cramped space. You need it. It can't just be there for no reason. So whether it serves as a something to hide behind or something to light away, that's why it's there.
I wonder, would it be good to add like a transparent map on the side or something like that? Because this game is or these tiles are randomly or procedurally generated. So I was thinking, or I was referring back to like Binding of Isaac, where they have like a map of all the rooms that you've been in, so that people don't get like lost.
I think something like that. Well, one way or another, yeah. I mean, it's a little far ahead to get to this, but I kind of had an idea in my head, which I haven't really discussed with Michael, so I don't even know if it's feasible. But I was thinking about, for starters, that in my mind, the camera angle is a little bit more top down than he's got it here. So it's not like a full top down, but a little bit more, so you can see a bit more of the map. And yeah, it's important to sort of get an overview of the map and kind of get an idea of where you are. But I was thinking, rather than have something on the side, I was thinking it'd be kind of cool to be able to zoom out and get a really big overview of where you actually are. So rather than having like a shadow of where you are, like on a HUD, you can actually hit a button and it just pulls out and you can see where you are, like almost in real time. But yeah, one way or another, I think, yeah, definitely.
Michael, you okay? What are your thoughts on this?
he's like, no!
Oh shoot.
Yeah, it's like, oh my god, no. Yeah,
I like. Well, it's sort of my personality where I just like implementing things. Does that make sense?
yeah, I love it. You do what I tell you, which is great, and then you come up with your own ideas, which is even greater. No, you're very good at implementing things.
Yeah, I mean, just something I find personally is that I can't really work with a blank page. I need someone to give me a prompt.
Okay,
and this is an excellent prompt.
You like that prompt? Okay, good. I'm glad you like that prompt. All right, go for it. I love this guy. I don't think Michael's ever met a problem he didn't like. Oh yeah. But I think it's I know I'm having fun. I'm a little scared of the animations because it's been a very long time since I've done any animation. And I think for the little character, I'm just going to buy a rig and just make it fit him. I mean, he's like squishy. So, but I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure people sell weird shaped rigs, right?
Yeah, probably.
This is Unreal, sorry, or Unity.
No, this is Unity.
Okay.
Unity.
I do too much Unreal for my day job, so Brett's here. I work directly with him on my day job, so he understands.
Shh! I don't want them to know.
Oh well,
Oh, that was great,
dude. You sound like you know. So, but yeah, no, I'm loving it. I'm having a good time with this.
It's amazing because you were so into Unreal.
I still am into Unreal, and I would do it in Unreal, but Michael wants to do it this way, and what Michael wants, Michael gets. And I also think it's true. I think for this game, I'm thinking of it as it's a phone game, right? So I think Unity just makes sense. It's logical.
Yeah, no, for like what I showed off, that's definitely you do that on Unreal. If you're doing single player on phone stuff, no, I would stick with Unity like right off the bat. It's so much faster.
Yeah. Well, that's No, I mean, I this is why I listen to the person that is responsible for doing this. This is my area of expertise, so why you get somebody to do programming.
Quick question. You were saying there's going to be different levels or layers rather. So there's like there's like the 50s and the 60s, and then you go like Are you also going to change the art style for those?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, so it's all going to be junkyard, but so this is conceptually the second level. This is conceptually the 1950s level. There's going to be a prior level, which I had this one in my head first. It's going to be sort of steampunk Victorian, right? So you're still going to have emissives and stuff. You're still going to, but it's going to. I built these walls in such a way that I can, in Maya, I can mix and match. It's relatively quick because I did the geometry of it, and it's just a question of putting different overlays on that geometry and then building assets to go with. But yeah, and then I'm thinking for the 60s flower power, that'll be fun with lava lamps and stuff like that. And
is the character going to change with it, or is he going to stay the same?
No, the character's the same, and he's actually built out of he's built out of Victorian parts. If you well, I'm going to redo him completely, but when I first did him, he got like an old iron stove grill on his stomach, and so he's built out of like old-fashioned parts. So he's coming from the bottom level. Well, actually, he's coming from he falls down to the bottom level, so it doesn't really matter. They're all built out of it's a stupid phone game. I haven't thought it, but he stays the same.
So Olga, you mentioned So you're building in Unity, so you could obviously go multi-platform, but you're sticking primarily with designs for phones, and then maybe
I'm well.
I
In
believe
my
you have
in.
a PC, because I would love to play
Oh
this on
yeah.
PC.
Oh, I'm in my head when I say phone. I mean simple. Facebook phone, whatever. I mean, just as long as PC, which is lightweight. When I say phone game, I mean it should be able to be played on a phone.
Okay, so just simplistic. You use the term phone for just simplistic game.
Something that's really lightweight.
Okay, awesome.
It could go on anything. I'm not sort of any platform that'll take me, I'll go. I was just like, why would I not want it to be on multiple platforms? Yeah, but not like not something, it's not a massive multiplayer game. This is a wee little robot game.
Do you have concept artwork for what you want
Yeah, I do. I have actually a concept somewhere here. I showed it the last time. Got that. It's on my webpage. Oh, I think I just took a screenshot of it the last time. No, I didn't. I didn't have it on my webpage anymore. I don't. I have a picture of it somewhere. I don't have it. But I mean, I don't know where it is.
No problem.
I promise I will show him to you soon. I want to finish this one. Like, I want to finish the assets for this level that Michael's working on, and that's when I want to start working on the characters, because I've got. I mean, for me, it's a question of having it done in my head. I have the enemies. I'm starting to build the enemies for this level, for the 50s levels, which are, those old canister vacuums, like your grandma, like the old 1950s canister vacuums.
Yeah.
Well, kind of, they're based on those, and they've got like googly eyes and snouts that shoot things, and they're just canister vacs that with a bad attitude. So that's. Oh yeah, and then the robot will be able to shoot the Victorian level, which is where you start out in the basement. There's a pair of like steampunk goggles, lasers on them. So your weapon, you shoot with your eyes. But we haven't gotten that far yet.
Awesome.
Show's over.
Anybody have any questions?
Just in case if people have something to show as well. If not, I have like something quick, just to
show us.
Get some insight on it. I'm guessing nobody else has anything else.
Nope.
Mine's gonna be really quick.
I guess I can show my thing real quick too.
Please.
Yeah.
So who's going? Sorry, there's like two people who said they can share their thing.
Well, Howard, you can go first. I still need to just set up a couple things on my end.
Okay, I will do a quick screen share first. So basically, what I wanted to emulate with, I'm basically working this with one of my friends, and I wanted to emulate a game that I loved to play when I was a child, which was Mega Man Battle Network 6. It's basically like a 3x3 grid, something, but the whole mechanic is around fighting in a 3x3 square, and I can actually show you exactly how it goes. So basically, I've only have a really quick demo. Nothing is really set. I only worked on this for like a couple of days, but because of the fact that it's completely new to me and I haven't implemented stuff, I can actually take a lot of suggestions on things to implement slash things to incorporate. But the main thing is the gameplay revolves around things called battle chips, or like things that will interact with the 3x3 grid. So let's say something like a top that will, you know, or like a blaster basically that will shoot all the way straight, or like a sword that will attack right in front of you, or a top that will go diagonally over and over again. There's a lot of things that I can implement. Like I was thinking about like putting traps and stuff, but right now I only have movement down, and I'm trying to figure out what to pursue from now on, because this is like a completely new territory for me. Especially like when thinking about stuff like the customizer, or basically like a menu where you can select specific battle chips that you use. Like this is completely new because I'd have to like implement like classes towards the battle chip. I have to figure out, you know, all the interactions with it. But that is basically what I have. I think my main problem has to revolve around. Oh wait, am I muted? Oh no, no. Yeah, okay. My main problem is like
No, heard you.
figuring out one main aspect, which is why I came to ask. So basically, this is like a 1v1 kind of thing. I wanted to make it a local multiplayer thing for now, but maybe expand on it from there. Maybe put single player. But basically, in the game, the battle chips appear on top of your head. And so if you selected a couple of battle chips in that order, you get to use it when you're fighting the other person. And I guess revolving around gameplay as well as like balance and stuff, I don't know whether or not I should implement that function, because if you're facing another person, they'll be able to see exactly what battle chip is going next, and so they'll like likely play around it. So I'm not sure if I should make it invisible, or if I should just keep it like visible so that people can see it.
So wait, are they going to be playing on the same? Are you thinking of this on the PC, or what are you thinking?
Currently, I want to do it on PC where they are able to play it with one keyboard, because it only requires, I think, the movement buttons and 3 other buttons to play this game. But I might expand towards like, you know, seeing if I can like set up a server and like connections and stuff. But that's like way farther along.
So, okay, just my observation with this type of thing has always caused a problem. A lot of games, they do it where you're using it, you know, there's special button combinations on your controller. That way they can't see what you're inputting to make those selections, right? Because you're basically one person's selecting things that they're going to be able to use, right? So I'm trying to say that's generally how they solve that. But and you want feedback too, because you know, like for instance, having a stack of like question marks above the head just gives the opponent knowledge that the adversary has things queued up but doesn't know what they are. So the key here is, how do you get the users to input what they're going to use without the other person seeing it? See what I mean? Does that make sense? Or maybe I misunderstood what you're doing.
That perfectly makes sense, actually. Because what I was thinking was, once they open up this menu, they'll be able to see exactly what icons their like the chips are. So what I was thinking was maybe having like a specific section where you can type, where you can press like a button to choose a specific chip, and it would be easily concealable, because like you wouldn't really be able to tell which button was pressed down.
Yeah, that's the only way you're going to avoid the person knowing what the powers are that are on the player, unless you make it in such a way that that's irrelevant. Meaning there's other action that must take place. In other words, imagine you had a power that allowed you to fireball, it allowed you to have a fire shield, or allowed you to fire, whatever, based on another key press. So the other person knows you've got firepower, but doesn't know how you're going to use it. That's the only other way I can think that you can get away with it. You know, having something visible to both players that has any meaning.
So it's basically kind of your classic football game where you can see what plays they have to choose from, but you don't know which play they're going to choose.
Kind of, yeah. I remember that's the older way they used to do it. Yeah, I remember the old football games.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tecmo Bowl. The other thing with, I think, at least with the football games is that, and I don't know if you can do something here, but I think Dragon Hill kind of went into it, is like, if you can, like, with the football example, you choose a play, but you are able to change the play midway through. So like, if you're like, oh no, the other person read my play, instead of throwing, you can run. You know what I mean? So if there is like a way that you could potentially not do it or change it, if they like, I don't know exactly how the gameplay is going to be like, if it's like a rock paper scissors thing where like this is strong against this or this, but like it'd be so there's a way that you can change it or not do it, or like psych them out or something like that, you know?
Okay, I just want to tell you, I got to bail out right now because I got to go dinner. So thanks. It was really good times, and I'll try to be here the next thing. And thanks for any feedback, and hopefully I could help people. Anyway, talk to you guys later.
Okay,
Thank
bye.
you very much for coming.
See you tomorrow at work.
Bye, Brett.
But yeah, that was. Thank you very much for the input. I never even thought about something as like having the rock paper scissors portion, because usually in the game it's just a linear, one chip does one thing, but this could be like something that I need to take a while to flesh out to, figure out how to implement this.
Yeah, that adds a real dynamism to it, doesn't it?
I guess I think the main problem would be like people wouldn't really know how to like I'm focusing more on like playability. So I guess the main problem would be like, what if people don't understand uh the way the chips or not the like the rock paper scissors aspect. So like the whole uh like the football example where if you have the ball you can choose to run instead of throwing it.
Well, I mean, is there a visual way of doing it? Is there a way of you got no how much animation are you going to have in here? Not a
Likely
lot.
I mean, it's as much as my friend is willing to draw.
As much as necessary.
Yeah.
No, if there's some kind of visual way to show that something trumps something else. I don't know. I don't know if you have to get complicated with it, but to.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the easiest way, and I know a lot of games do this, is like elements, right? So like fire,
Yeah.
water, earth, wind.
Yeah.
And then like, most people know, okay, fire is strong against this, but weak against this. So like kind of playing upon people's already preconceived like stuff that.
And you won't even be able to do it with color because it's always the same colors, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like red, blue, green.
Red, blue, green.
And then I guess wind is like white or lighter blue.
Usually it's lighter green.
Yeah.
Yeah, but whatever. I mean, you can, but I think once people see where you're driving with it, that they pick it up. So like if you give them hints, and you can also give hints in the name of something, right?
Yeah, I'll probably have to expand through this idea a little bit more. And
it's a tricky one, but
I mean, even in like fighting games, I think it's, certain things like you have the heavy punch and you have the light punch and you have, things that can break like the grabs and stuff like that. And I wouldn't say it's, quite a rock, paper, scissors, but like,
But I mean, yeah, it's a concept.
Certain things will break through certain things,
Right.
So like it's about the action and like, all right, well, if I duck and I sweep, then that's obviously going to be strong against if they're standing up kind of thing. So I think it's just figuring out kind of what way you want to go. And then if you want like power-ups that you choose, I think you'd have to find a way to like either have the character like potentially cancel them just to kind of psych out the opponents. Or like, oh, they're going to do a fireball, but instead you like punch them in the face. So they're all like getting ready to take a fireball, but they get a physical attack, you know? So I feel like having that kind of dynamic could make the game like a lot more interesting, and it's becomes like a game of like guessing and bluffing, you know?
Yeah, thank you very much for the feedback. I'll explore this a little more. If
I
nobody
would be
knows,
careful not to overly color code everything. A lot of people do have color blindness, so we want to make sure that everything could be represented some other way.
Good point.
Yeah, like symbology is also good. Just like very simple glyphs of like the element would be useful.
So I have two thoughts here regarding new game mechanics. I open to using airdrops, and also I open to like manipulating the number of battle slots that one player can equip at the same time.
I'm sorry, could you please repeat that again? It was about revealing the amount of like I believe the chips that you.
The battle chip slots, like manipulating the number of battle chip slots a player can equip at one time.
Yeah, generally there would be like 5 is the maximum that they'd be able to manipulate. I mean, to use at one time. But I think it was Mark who had a comment saying that I should instead have like a visual with like a question mark to show the number, but not show what's chosen.
No, what wasn't me, but that's a good idea.
It was Brett.
Oops, pardon me.
Dragon Ball or whatever his name was.
Dragon Hill.
Dragon Hill.
I think we can move on to what is it called? Darkness now, so that we don't take up too much time on me. Do you have your thing ready? Hello?
Are you there?
Maybe I can
Oh,
pick up.
Hey, yeah,
Hey,
yeah. This is Oliver, by the way.
No.
Well, no, I know you know Olga. I'm just saying to other people who don't know my Discord name.
Hi, Oliver.
Hey. Okay, let me just stream this. So basically, I'm still working on my tabletop game. A number of you have probably already seen it, and I just want to show you all the tabletop simulator version that I created. I think it came out really well. Now I just need people to like help me playtest it, but here it is. This is Swords at Dusk. If and like I said, a number of you have already seen this, but if you haven't, it is a 4 to 8 player social deduction game about high-class socialites dueling each other to the death in order to find the person among them that's trying to kill them all. So yeah, so this is the 3D version of it, and let me think. I'll just sorry.
This is the one. This is the one that you play tested with us like last year, like a year ago, right?
Yeah, except now it's digital and
it's gorgeous.
Thank you. Yeah, no, Tabletop Simulator, surprisingly easy to pick up. I'm very surprised. I already had the PNGs and they just turn it into cards. It's amazing. So if you haven't gotten, like, this is me shilling a little bit, but if you haven't gotten Tabletop Simulator yet, get it. It's a good deal, especially if you're playtesting analog prototypes at the moment. But anyway, so, like, basically, the thing that I just want to show real quick and just get a little bit of feedback on, because I just decided to do this right now. is that the newest thing that I've introduced, I haven't tested yet, is the idea of etiquette. So in most social deduction games, like Werewolf or Mafian or Secret Hitler, there's this one thing. There's always that one particular moment in the game where nobody really knows how to start the conversation. Nobody knows how to like what to talk about when there's no information on the board, and there's probably not going to be a lot of information in general. So in an effort to kind of push conversation, or at least make those conversations more interesting, I've introduced the idea of etiquette. You're all high class socialites, and like because you are high class socialites, there are manners and rules of like social rules that you have to follow. So like so here are examples of the cards. Like these govern things like conversation topics. Like you can have the conversation about who the killer is, but you also need to like, oh, I think the killer is Mark, and also I think your shirt is pretty, or something like that. Or um or some of them, like, you have to do something if you talk about a certain thing. In this game, the main way you interact with other players is through dueling. So this rule is, if you talk about dueling another guest, you have to duel them. And if you break those rules, you lose these. This is your influence. And the one of the other big things that I changed is that if like the person with the most influence wins the game, assuming that you find the killer and kill them. So it's kind of every man. It's a cooperation, but also a competition, and yeah. So yeah, you lose these, and you can gain them back by gambling on duels. Yeah. But this is kind of the main thing that I'm bringing. The new thing that I haven't tested but need testing, or at least get a little feedback on, is just do you think that having this layer of like having to observe social etiquette adds anything to a game that basically you just had to figure out who is murdering you all? Or is it just kind of like something that feels like just first impression thoughts, but or do you think it just feels like something that just seems added on to just make things more difficult for everyone? If you need any more just info on the other mechanics surrounding just the game in general, I'd also appreciate. I'll answer any of those questions as well. But yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Was a spur of the moment. Sure, I'll show my thing off thing. So if no one has anything to say, that's totally okay.
I do actually. I think the etiquette. I think it could actually make it very interesting if you get a little trickier with what you are making people do. In other words, kind of make them do some verbal gymnastics. Don't just make them like mention somebody's shirt is nice, but you have to use the name of an animal in the conversation or something. Something that almost like a Mad Libs kind of thing. I think that would actually make it. I think it would add an element of fun to it.
Yeah, like there's definitely
not necessarily to complicate people's stuff, but like if you want to get people out of their shells, have them be a little bit ridiculous without ruining the gameplay.
Yeah. Like I feel like there's definitely some I feel like is very much a word gymnastics sort of thing. Like this one right here that I just drew is really
like
yeah.
That's kind of like I was talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it adds an element. I mean, you're not changing the overall. You're making people, like you said, verbal gymnastics.
Yeah. Like I think just balancing like complexity with like, because there's like I've right now I can't even really test well.
Banter. I mean, it should be lighthearted. Whatever it is, it should be lighthearted. It should be banter, you know?
Yeah. Like I like this one too. Like you can't say any of the words that have to do with the game basically.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I think it's cool. I think if they're clever, I think that it adds an element of whimsy to it. I think whimsy is the word I want.
Yeah. Oh. I like I'm very torn between this one, but also I'm like kind of proud of it. It's very simple, but also it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
so are these etiquette things in play for the entire game?
So these cards. So
presumably it's for the day, right?
Yeah, so basically just kind of, so every round someone gets this, which is privilege. Privileged people get a few extra things they can do during the round. One of those things is looking at the current rules, which there's by default there's always 3 on the board. More can pop up, but if the card says they pop up. Basically, a privileged person gets to remove one of the rules or replace it with another one. These like maximum possible would probably be 5. There are a couple of cards that are like add to the maximum amount of rules, but 3 is like I haven't really tested it, so I don't know if that's gonna stay. But like there is always going to be at least 3 rules. Yeah.
And do they just cycle out based on like what was the last one, like the earliest one picked essentially? So you have 3 and then it's like, and then you do another one and then it gets rid of the first one or whatever?
Oh, no, it just like basically whoever has the privilege can pick one, discard it, and then just draw another one and put it on the table. Like these are more or less random on what you get. And yeah.
So hi, also I'm Catherine. I just got my mic to work basically. So I guess what I would say as far as feedback is that I actually am maybe coming at this from a different opinion. I would say that as far as the random whimsical type rules, I think that kind of thing is in a lot of werewolf type mafia games already. What I think might be interesting though is that if the etiquette restrictions were specifically geared towards things that intersect with things that suspicious people would do, just to add a little more sense of ambiguity. And something else I was thinking was perhaps the specific etiquette in play might not be totally random, but would flow somehow from what's taken place during the gameplay or the round so far.
Okay.
Kind of more of a like constructing a society, I guess. But of course, the catch that is, of course, the people who are the mafia or werewolves have an equal say into the etiquette and play in a way that may or may not help them. It's really vague right now.
Okay. I get what you're saying though, and I think that is actually very interesting. Kind of just like making the choice of etiquette more of a democratic thing. That's something I haven't thought about. And yeah.
And I guess sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, like just like it's like one of my thesis going into this game is like what can I do to make someone put their own like in the game life on the line to defend like what they think is true. So like that's why I try like so yeah, like privilege is like a single decision from one person and stuff like that. I really want to get that feeling of I'm in charge, I am holier than thou, I am a high class socialite in a remote manner, and I might die, but I will die being right or whatever. That's something I kind of want to get at. But also, I think you're onto something with just having kind of a group sort of consensus on like choosing things like etiquette or something like that. Because there's not a lot of loyalty testing in this game, like just from observing it. There's not a lot to go on, and maybe voting for a particular rule that would benefit someone might be the solution to that. So yeah.
Yeah, I guess like the core fundamental thing is like what direction you were really considering going, like more of a lighthearted, fun type thing, or more of a, I don't want to say, I'm trying to think of the right word, but some people get more into mafia games than others, depending on the group, I guess.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
there has been a version of this that was much more gamey, mechanic, like very crunchy, up to the point where it didn't really work. So this is a different approach of like, okay, so people don't want to like play a social deduction game that you have to think about like 12 different other things within the mechanics about. So maybe back up, go for the more social party game approach. And so this is kind of the first thing I came to. So yeah, I don't know. It's yeah, but I'm gonna put a link to the Steam Workshop link if anyone wants to take a look on Tabletop Simulator themselves. And but I definitely would like to see if people would help me test this out.
So we can test it on Steam now.
Yeah. Let me just give you the workshop link if you're
Are you,
interested.
sorry, Oliver, I didn't want to cut you off. Are you only going to plan on issuing this to Steam Tabletop Simulator? Or are you going to have an executable sort of export of this available after you, like for distribution, or how are you looking at that? I'm not looking to distribute this, but this is amazing. It's a Clue game. It's a tabletop like next gen version of Clue with social cues and stuff. So I just wanted to see what is your overall planning.
So, like, I mean, in an ideal world, I would just publish this like any other board game, but we don't live in an ideal world right now. So, at the moment, right now, it's just Tabletop Simulator. There is a version of it on Tabletopia, which is accessible to everyone because you don't have to download any extra software. But the Tabletop Simulator version, I feel, is the most you had to pay like $15 to $20 for Tabletop Simulator, but I also think it's worth it if you want to play board games online, or play test board games online at this point. But as for distribution in this world, I'm not sure I'm going to like make an executable, because that would mean me having to dig into things like networking multiplayer over the internet, which is something I'm not particularly suited to do. So right now it's just going to stay on Tabletop Simulator. But yeah, but it's also still very much kind of in the phase of testing right now. So it's like I said, the etiquette mechanics haven't even been tested yet. And like one of the big things that's difficult about testing these kind of mechanics is that some of them require physically seeing the other person, something that a lot of social deduction games don't have to deal with. So, yeah.
Awesome. Were there any other questions? All right. If there's not, I think that's it for today, unless anybody wants to make any announcements or has anybody anything else to share?
No, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Jasmine. Thank you, Howard, for making this all happen. And we'll keep you all posted on the channel and in the other venues that we have about more stuff going on Discord, because I think we're planning on using it a lot more.
Yeah. So if you guys have anything you want to post in here, feel free. You can share your projects for feedback and stuff like that. If you're looking for work or if you have job opportunities or anything like that, feel free to post it in the Discord channel.
Thank you all again, Olga, Jasmine, Howard, everyone that was here for the opportunity to share. Hopefully we see you guys in a couple days on the platform, and when you sign up, like I said, you'll get a free game. So looking forward to seeing you there.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you for sharing, and I'm sure we will because it looks pretty cool.
Thank you,
Awesome.
thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Have a great night, guys. Bye.
Take care. Be safe,
Bye.
stay safe, stay healthy.
Bye.
Yeah.
Good
Okay.
night.
Bye.